And I put people on mute, but if you do have questions, please do unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So, everybody, welcome to the call. I think some of you might know me, some of you don't know me. So my name is George Sroor, and I look after the academia sector for the company in Middle East and Africa. And today's call is the faculty briefing for our annual portfolio management competition. It's a competition that we've been doing for 4 years, so this is the fourth one. And we generally invite all the universities that we work with and a few other universities that I will cover what the criteria are in the next slides. So today's session is mainly a faculty briefing. We're doing 4 of those sessions. So this is the second one. They're all exactly the same. We're just giving everyone a chance to join due to different calendars. As you can imagine, it's a huge region we're covering. So everyone's got a different time that they can join. So you're free to join more sessions if you want. You don't have to just join one. If you feel like you want to join other ones, you can. They're all exactly the same. The only difference would be the questions that are being asked at every single one of them. But we are recording them, so hopefully we'll be able to share all these recordings with you once we sort out our little tech issues. So what is the portfolio management competition? The goal of the competition is for participating students to build the highest performing portfolio over a period of 5 weeks. And it's all based on a set of criteria that we will give the students. These portfolios, they'll be selected and built using our workspace for students application. Now, some of you know what it is, some of you don't know, some of you have it. All the students will basically receive free trials to use it for the competition. It will be separate to any licenses that they have at the university already, if you guys are subscribing. And we'll cover those details in the coming slides. So what are the main benefits? What are the benefits for you as a school, and what are the benefits for the students? For you, you're enabling experiential learning to all your students. So you're teaching them theory, but now they're able to apply that theory into practice by using Workspace. And Workspace is a platform that is used across the workforce. Most investment banking, most asset management, banks, traders, portfolio managers, they're using Workspace or another main platform. There's 2 main platforms in the market. So you're able to provide that experiential learning of financial knowledge, and we're sort of taking that and gamifying it to give students a bit more experience, to have fun, to enjoy themselves, and to win something. So they'll be able to combine quantitative and qualitative techniques in the selection, and we'll cover where those 2 parts are later in the next slides. The other, let's say, benefits for you is you increase engagement and competition within your student body, and you obtain publicity for yourselves through social media, because we encourage you to post about your students taking part. We will post about people taking part and winners and so on and so forth. So it's a great exposure for all of you. For the students, they get to advance their studies, deepen their understanding, and apply all that learning in an impactful way. So they gain that knowledge of asset management and the workflow of asset management using that platform. And it's a real life portfolio management tool that they're using. It's not some tool that is a simulator on a Forex website where they can just simulate and they'll never use that tool again. It's an actual tool that when they become bankers, when they become portfolio managers, traders, so on and so forth, they will be using one of these tools, specifically this tool. It will help them to understand the risk factors of constructing a portfolio. But on another side, it helps them to qualify themselves better for the workforce. They add the participation to their CV. If they win, they get an internship, and that goes on their CV. And also gets them the ability to network with a panel of experts and other students. Because at the end of the competition, the finalists, they get to present to a panel of judges from the professional world. So there's a lot of networking involved. They get to meet a lot of people as well while they're doing the competition. So I want to cover a little bit about last year, to share with you what was the competition like last year, some major numbers, and what we achieved. So we had a very talented group of participants last year. And last year was the first time we expanded the competition from just Middle East and Africa to also include Central East Europe and ex-CIS countries. So we had about 215 registered portfolios and students from around 46 universities and all from 16 different countries. And I'll cover what the countries are and why those countries are chosen and what universities are chosen. So there was a lot of social media buzz, as you can see, the posts that Rula did. This was, I think, the induction day for the winners who got the internships. And you can see we do these posts throughout the competition. We mention the students, we mention the universities, so it's great publicity. And in the end, we awarded 6 internships last year from Austria, Egypt, Hungary, Lebanon, South Africa, and Turkey. So all these internships were done in our local offices in those countries. So what is the eligibility? Why do we invite who we invite, and what are the criteria we look at? So generally, it's open to all business schools, preferably with a finance discipline. We generally look at universities that are based in countries where we have offices, and this is important for the big prize. And then there are 2 criteria we look at. If a university is a client of ours, they are automatically invited. If a university is not a client, but are within a certain QS ranking quartile, or they have AACSB membership, we also invite them. So that gives us the ability to work with our clients and also with new universities that we might want to build relationships with. And it raises the number to bring more variety and more people to play. Every university will have to assign 5 students with knowledge and interest of the financial markets, and also good communication skills in English. And also we want them to have the commitment. I'll cover these in a later slide, why we focus on the English and why it's 5 students. All the students will have to personally register, and we will be helping them throughout the way. And the way we run the competition, and I think I'll cover that in the next slide, it's basically run in parallel. We separate Middle East and Africa and Central East Europe, but they are running at the same time in parallel. And then we take the top 10 of each region in performance, and they move to the semifinal. Each region will have its own semifinal, and then the top 5 from each region will go to a final with 10 people, and then we have 5 winners out of all of these. So what is the process of the competition? First of all, it's very easy registration for the students. We send them the links where they register once they are nominated, so you have to nominate them first. Every student gets a free access to Workspace, and that is regardless if they have an access at your university. If you're already giving them access, we will give them a separate access, and this is important for us to be able to monitor the portfolios. We will do the trainings with them. We'll show them how to build the portfolios. We'll show them how to play in the competition. We will do weekly meetings with them, with all of them, to sort of cover what's going on in the market, answer questions. We give them the criteria, and we do all the performance monitoring. And this makes it much easier for you. There's not much work for you guys to do as faculty. We take care of all the work, all the training, all the technical issues. It's on our side. Before I move to the next slide, just any questions so far from anyone? Yes, Sarah.
Yeah. Excuse me. I just want to ask, it is 5 groups or 5 individuals we are allowed to?
It's 5 individuals, and they do not work as a team. No, it's not groups.
Yeah.
No, and they work for themselves. And the reason for that is because we give the 5 winners, they get an internship. So we cannot give an internship to a team. We have to give an internship to an individual.
And the training, is it specific hours you assign for the student, or they have the flexibility to change because they are already in having courses in the university?
So we do 2 main training sessions, 2 briefing sessions at 2 slightly different times, 2 different days. We record them, so students can always go back to them.
Yeah.
And we also provide videos that they can watch after, and PDF guides. So they have a lot of resources that they can watch whenever they're free, if they don't make it.
regarding the portfolio building, is it something dynamic? They have to sell, buy, use short selling, whatever, or you have specific software?
So it's I'll cover that in a bit, but basically they can add and remove stock, so they can buy and sell. There is no short selling. We don't have that ability to do it yet. It's all done on Workspace, which is the platform that we sell to universities.
Okay.
And we will show them how they can do it. So they build their portfolio, and then throughout the 5 weeks, they can rebalance their portfolio. There's no problem.
Is it the stocks international?
It will be, I will cover that in the next slide. What is the criteria?
Okay. Thank you.
So, Muhammad, do you have a question?
Yes, for the students, you said it's okay if they, it is not necessary to be all from finance, right?
No, not at all.
From accounting, let's say risk and insurance, maybe we can add some students.
Absolutely. You have 5 slots. You have 5 nominations. You choose. You know your students. You know who is more engaged, who is more excited, who has more, let's say, knowledge. We have had students from engineering schools take part in the past. They were just very passionate about the subject, and they did well. So it's up to you.
Yeah, right. Investing, it is not necessary for finance students. Some people, they have skills even if they are in other fields.
Exactly.
Bachelor, or we can select from master if we have master programs.
It's fully open to you. We don't have, you can select an undergrad, postgrad, a master's, a PhD. It's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Sarah, I think, yes, I see the question was answered in the chat. Great.
I want to add regarding the graduate students or master students. In the past, we had a winner who was a graduate who could not join the internship because he already had a job. So keep that in mind when you select your students, to select students who would be able to join the internship if they were winners.
That's very important. So moving on to the criteria, and that's covering a question that was asked just earlier. So we ask the students to build a portfolio in our application, and we give them these criteria here. So the universe of stocks they select from is from the Russell 1000, and the stocks must have an ESG score above 50, which is in our platform. No single security can exceed 10% of weight, so they have to keep checking that their securities are below that threshold, and their portfolio cannot exceed 50 stocks. So those are the criteria that we give them, and we show them how to apply those criteria and how to select stocks within those. And we monitor. So if we see a student select the wrong stock that shouldn't be there, or the ESG score has dropped, we will inform them. If we see weights go up, we also, reach out to them. And then for the first part of the competition, the first 5 weeks, we evaluate the portfolios on these 4 metrics. So the returns, so 25% of the weight is on the return of the portfolio. We also look at the selection effect and the allocation effect, and also at the Sharpe ratio. And each of those has an equal 25% weighting. We then apply a score to that portfolio based on quintiles. So if your student is in the top 20% on portfolio returns, they get 5 points. They get 4 points for the let's say if they're in the second quintile. And then we just do an average. So, if a student is in the top quintile on all 4 of them, that student will get 5. Sometimes they will be top here, they will be 3 points here. We just apply an average. If 2 students have the same score, the same rating, we take precedence on the portfolio returns. So if 2 students have a 4 score, if one student has a 10% return and the other one has an 8% return, the one with 10% return will be classified higher. Any questions on this part? Great. I'll move on to the next. So what is the timeline? How do we, what is the timeline for the competition? So we are currently over here. So we basically started the registration opening 2 days ago. That was the date of the first faculty session. We will be doing another 2 faculty sessions until the 7th of October. So from the 10th of September until the 7th of October is the period you have to select and nominate your students. We want the nominations by maximum the 7th of October, because that is when we will have our first session with the students. We then have a second session with them on the 8th of October. Again, same sessions, we're just trying to accommodate everyone. And we open access to the platform on the 9th of October. The students then have 5 days to get acclimatized to Workspace, to learn all the training that we give them, see how to use it, log into it. And we want them to submit the portfolio, at least the initial composition of it, on the 14th of October. That will be the start date of the measurement of the performance. We will then have weekly training sessions with them. Well, they're not training sessions, they're more motivator sessions, Q&A sessions. We'll show them some extra tricks in the platform. We'll cover some things that are going on in the market with them, and we'll answer all their questions. Then on the 14th of November, we close access to the platform. So we will measure the performance from 14th of October to 14th of November. And on the 15th, we announce the semi-finalists. So we'll announce the top 10 from Middle East and Africa and top 10 from CEE. Those students will then have 6 days to prepare a presentation, which they will present to a panel of judges on the 21st of November. And then on the 22nd, we announce the 5 best from each region. And then they will have another 4 days to prepare or to polish up their presentation for the grand final, where they will present to another panel of judges. Usually that panel is from the market. So you'll have someone from a bank, you'll have someone from a portfolio management company. We have quite a few different, let's say, people from our client base. As you know, we work with banks, with corporates everywhere. So we bring judges from our clients. And then we announce the final winners on the 27th of November. Just zooming in on the period between the 7th and the 14th and 17th of October. So we're giving the students some mini objectives just to help them, stay engaged. So, we tell them install the platform by the 10th, make sure you've done your layout and your screening by the 12th, build your portfolio by the 14th and by the 13th, and then the 14th, just, submit it. So we're trying to make sure to give them time to build that portfolio, and we're sort of encouraging them to do a few steps along the way. Any questions on the timeline?
This is okay, I think. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excuse me, you are
Yes.
going to provide us with this timeline, right?
Of course, yes.
Schedule.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the end of the session, Rula will be sending you guys a PDF booklet with basically my presentation is in that booklet.
I just want to ask, is it a fixed schedule, or you can extend, because the university will start the first semester on the 10th of October.
Oh.
I don't know how am I going to manage to contact students and to see how eligible are they. Yes.
What we can do, Dr. Mona, because the submission of the portfolio is on the 14th, so we're not measuring performance before that.
Yeah,
we could,
okay.
as an exception, if you send us students before the 14th as a final exception, we could do that. And then the students can just watch the videos and catch up.
Yeah.
Great. I think there was another question. I saw a hand raise.
Just sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
I have my colleague, Dr. Venus. Actually, she's trying to join this meeting, but she cannot. I don't know what's the problem.
Okay.
Can we add her directly from her, or I don't know?
Rula, if you could type her email in the chat, Dr. Naji, and Rula can send her the link.
Okay, 1 minute. I will
Perfect.
send you the email. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No worries.
Thank you.
So I'll move on to yes, Dr. Bana, go ahead.
Hi, I have one question regarding some requests from students from last year. I have 1 or 2 students who would like to participate again because they have exams and they did not take it in, in a serious way. So they wanted to re-participate this year. Can this
Absolutely.
happen this year?
Yes, of course, of course. It's open
So-
to previous participants. Even previous winners can participate if they want. So yeah.
Great, great, thank you.
So I'll move on to the next slide. So, as I said, there's a presentation at the end. So what happens, the competition is divided in two parts, as you saw by the timeline. The first 5 weeks are purely quantitative. So we're measuring the scores based on the ratios and the metrics that I told you before. And then the students who are the top 10 of each region have to go and present to a jury. And this is done on Teams. They will have a certain time to present. We will train them on, what they should focus on. But basically, the students or the jury will be looking at this rubric. This will be the metrics that they will be looking at, and they will be scoring. So the portfolio score will be given by us from the performance section of the competition. But then the students, we will be marking them on their knowledge and methodology. What is the methodology behind their portfolio? Why did they choose the stocks they chose, or the sectors? Did they apply any theories, any formulas that they learned? We want to see what the thinking process was behind. We also want to look at their ESG strategy, whether they had one or not. We want to understand why they used that strategy. It's something that, ESG is a very big subject right now in the market, so we are focusing on it as well. So we want to understand their thinking behind it. And of course, we will give them training on how to look at ESG in our platform as they're doing the competition. And last but not least, and this is why I mentioned at the beginning that the students need to have a good language skills in English, is because the jury will also be looking at, their introduction, their language, their delivery, their timing, their visuals. As you know, part of being in the workforce is communication. You need to be able to communicate what you're trying to do, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to, convince your boss or your CIO, your chief investment officer, that you should buy the stock. So we want to see the students, how they are doing in terms of their delivery and their communication. And we have had a few issues in the past where some students, their English was quite difficult. So we don't want to be unfair on those students and have them present where they will get bad marks. So please, the students that you bring in, make sure that their English is at a good level, that it will not hamper them when they get to the presentation. So just to discuss about awards, I know students, this is like the big part of it. What do they get? So first of all, every participating student will have a certificate of completion, so that all students will get that. The finalists, semi-finalists, and finalists will get a different certificate saying that they made it to the final. And then the 5 winners out of the grand final, each of them will be offered an opportunity to have an internship at the local office where they are based. The internship is usually for 2 months, usually in summer when they are not at university, and the internship is also paid. This is why we tell you to give us 5 students. They are not working as a team, they're working for themselves. They are representing you, of course, as a university, but they are competing for themselves because the internship will go to them, not to a team. This is very, very important. And this is why also we do the competition for universities where we have offices, because we want to be able to give an internship to a student and have an office to accommodate them and to actually, work with them. We will be announcing all the winners and the universities, obviously, on LinkedIn, on our social media channels, on our media websites as well. So there's a lot of publicity there. And just a little bit of statistics of something else that the students gain during this competition. We took some feedback from students from last year, so 92% response rate. And we asked them what was their knowledge of the platform at the beginning of the competition and at the end of the competition. And you can see at the beginning, we had 45% felt that they had non-existent knowledge, and 34% felt they were beginners. By the end of it, 62% of the participant felt that their knowledge went up to moderate and 27% to high. So they are gaining all that knowledge, which is good for them. in terms of when they move to the workforce. This is knowledge that they've acquired, but it's also good for you if you are a university that are using Workspace and you feel the students are not using it as much. This will raise the usage. This will give value to your subscription of Workspace, and hopefully encourage more students to use it, encourage you to implement it more in the curriculum. So this is the idea behind the competition, to raise the awareness of Workspace and to engage with you as our clients. So before I move to the next steps, I want to pause again for any questions. Any of you have questions for everything that we've covered so far? And just to go back to what Rula said, about the internships and the level of students, we keep it open to everyone. You can bring us undergrads, postgrads, as you wish. But then when there's an internship involved, sometimes there's no benefit for a postgrad to get an internship. They might already have a job. They will not take benefit of the internship. So that's why we leave it open, but generally the best student to have is the one that is going to be graduating this year, because they graduate, they're fresh, and they immediately get to have an internship. But again, it's open to everybody. Anybody can join and everyone can benefit from it. And if they cannot do the internship, then it's fine. We are there to offer it and they can make the decision. So there were no questions. I'm just going to move to the next steps. What do we need from you now? So we need your 5 student nominations. You will send those nominations to us at this email address, which will be in the guide that Rula will be sending to you. Those students will be given a registration link where they will register to the competition, and then they will be given the choices of the sessions, the first training sessions, very similar to what you had to choose. Make sure, as we said before, they're English speakers, they're interested in finance, they're interested in this sort of, portfolio building and investing, and that they're committed. We want to make sure that the students are taking part. We don't want to see a student that just, doesn't have the time or is not that interested and they're not participating. The more they participate, the more fun it is for them and for us. We'll just share the registration link with the students. They will have to register themselves and confirm their email address. About the email address, please make sure that the nominations you send us include are only the university email addresses of the students. We don't want Gmails or Hotmails or Yahoo mails or whatever is out there. The student must have the university email address, and that is the one they should register with as well. The system will not allow Gmails or Hotmails. So university email address is very, very important. Once the student confirms their registration, they'll be directed to the briefing sessions and they can sign up to one of it's 2 sessions, not 3 sessions this year. As I said, they will then get their Workspace trial. Whether they have a license with you or not, they will have a separate license for the competition. And then we will give them access to a special page for the competition. That page will have everything from on-demand videos on how to do every part of the competition. There'll be PDF guides on that. There'll be all the previous recordings of the training sessions. There'll be frequently asked questions and a bunch of other informational videos that we'll be posting on that page for them to keep watching. And we will be holding the weekly sessions with them, and we'll be informing them of the timing of those sessions. So this is just how the registration page and then the part where they register for the classes will be, very similar to what you had to see. And just one final one is you can always contact us. Your students will be always able to contact us. So there'll be myself, there'll be Rula, who's the project manager, and there'll be a team of customer success managers and specialists that are there to answer any questions. And this will be the email address that you and the students can reach out to us on. We'll also be we're trying to implement sort of a small message board forum, so students can just ask questions there and we can reply to them more interactively. Maybe other students can also reply and they can network with each other. So we're trying to implement that one for this year, and I believe we'll be able to do it. So that will add just another dimension and a bit more communication between the students, a bit more, let's say banter, a little bit more like sharing ideas and networking between them. It will be kind of fun. So I believe that's it for the presentation. Any questions from anyone on what, anything you want to ask, what the criteria, what you need to do, timelines, anything, please feel free to ask.
I think we will be hearing more questions as we progress with this whole 5 weeks. Right? Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. So yes, you'll have more questions. So what we'll do is we'll be sending you the PDF, the guidelines. They will contain pretty much everything I covered and a few more extra rules and regulations. And yes, over the next few weeks, so you've got until the 7th, technically until the 7th, but I think we'll be able to accept, some last minute registrations of students until the 13th, 14th of October, because that's when we start counting. Anything after that will be difficult. So yeah, any questions you have in the meantime, please reach out to us, to that address, or to myself. I think most of you who know me, you have my email address. Reach out to me if you have questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
guys.
George. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Perfect. See you all, and thanks a lot, and looking forward to having you guys on board this year.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
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 Okay.
Stop the recording.